So do kids need chiropractic, and do they need adjusted? The resounding answer 100% of the time is yes, they do. The question I get is why? Why do the kids need to be adjusted? Why do they need to be checked by a chiropractor? Any of those things. Lots of reasons that start actually during the birthing process. 80 to 90% of kids, closer to 90% in today's environment, I would say, due to the increase in C-sections. Probably close to 90% of kids come out of their mom with a misalignment in their upper neck. That's a lot. That's 9 out of 10 births have a misalignment in their neck that's going to interfere with how their nervous system's working and how they're developed. In those first 6 months, their nervous system develops so much compared to the rest of their life that you really need to have them checked to make sure that that's working the correct way so they're developing as good as they can, right? We start to see developmental delays in kids when they don't crawl, when they don't walk, when they don't talk, those kinds of things. And that's too late a lot of the time. It is too late we can reverse it, yes, but they need to be checked early on so those developmental delays don't happen. Me personally, kids have, my oldest daughter got adjusted a couple days after she was born. Sydney, our youngest daughter, then anybody that knows her knows she's just kind of at a different level, wired differently than a lot of people around, right? Love her to death, but she can just go at a level that most people can't, and then she can just focus in on whatever she needs to focus in on very well, even with being all over the place lots of times. But the reason she's like that is she was adjusted right after she was born. She would not stop crying after she was born. It was because of the way she was born. She came out really quick. So there is some impact. There is some trauma to her when she came out, and she would not stop crying. So as soon as the nurses left the room, I told Marty, I was like, we're checking her and we're seeing what's wrong. And sure enough, her upper neck was out of alignment. We adjusted her. The nurse came back in. She was not crying any longer. The nurse said, what happened? Well, I checked her and I adjusted her. And I'm legal to do that. It's my daughter. It's my state. I can do that legally, right? So, so it does need to be checked, and the kids do need to make sure that they're aligned properly so they develop. Okay. One of the things that just happened this last week, and normally in a normal week, probably I'll say a quarter of my patients are probably kids under 18 on a normal week. Last week it was a little bit more, but we had a couple new kids start last week. One was a 15-year-old, one was a 3-year-old, right? The 3-year-old was quite simple. She wouldn't sleep through the night. She's never slept through the night. She won't stay asleep for more than a couple hours. Checked her upper neck. Her mom could feel how far her upper neck was misaligned. We adjusted it with an instrument, so it was very low force. Scared her more than it hurt her. And that same night, they went home. She went to bed. She didn't wake up till the next morning, and she's done that ever since. She has slept through the night ever since that first adjustment. We had a 15-month-old that was developmentally delayed. She just started crawling. She wouldn't stand up. Her ankles were not structured well. She literally could not straighten her legs out because of a hip issue and a upper neck issue. And she was not talking yet. She was making sounds, but nothing, that made a lot of sense to the mom and dad yet. So we adjusted her, checked her upper neck, adjusted her hip, got that moving. The next day, later that night, the mom said she could straighten out her legs better. And she wasn't always holding her legs up and in. And come to find out, when they went in to get her out of her crib the next morning, she was standing up in her crib by herself. She pulled herself up and was standing there looking out the window, right? With one adjustment. So this is why kids need to be checked. They may not need adjusted, and that's great. But kids need to be checked so they can reset their nervous systems, so their nervous system can heal and do what it needs to. They're no different than adults. And the fact that we all have nervous systems is one reason that they need to be checked. So I'm going to just ask you, if your child has not been checked by a chiropractor, they need to go be checked. Pure and simple. Birth process. They fall more than 200 times a day when they're learning how to walk. There's just a tons of trauma. If they play any sports, I can guarantee they have a misalignment somewhere, and they have something that's going to lead. They just need to be checked, right? So it's very safe. Chiropractic is the safest healthcare profession out there. It's especially with children, because it's not the same as adult adjusting. It is very different. It is very low force, and it doesn't need to be forceful because they don't have the trauma that adults do. So it's very safe to do. It is super effective. I mean, we're talking one adjustment with these two kids last week. One adjustment completely changed their life, completely changed the trajectory of where they were going. Because if you're not sleeping, you're not healing, and it's gonna cause problems. And then if you're not developing, all your fine motor stuff, then that's going to lead to problems as they get older, right? That's going to lead to problems in school, all those kinds of things. That's where autism comes from. That's where ADHD comes from. All those things can almost be traced back to the birth trauma that set them on the path with all the other stuff. I'm not going to get into the vaccine part of that stuff, but yeah. So if you are not in the Polo, Milledgeville, Oregon, Mount Morris, Forston area, and you need to go somewhere else, I can get you a referral to them. If you're in the Sterling area, there's a super great pediatric chiropractor down there as a friend. So we'll be more than happy to send you there. This is just important that kids need to be checked, pure and simple. It's not a question of should I. It's when do you get them checked? And the answer to that is as soon as you can. So yeah, get your kid checked if they have not seen a chiropractor yet. So we would love to help you out. If that's the case, just send me a message and I'll get back to you and we'll get you scheduled as soon as we can. So, all right. Have a blessed week.